folks. Welcome back. It just seems like yesterday when we had a Beatles show. And this Friday, 3 days from now, we're doing our Acoustic Rubber Soul Beatles album concert. And the guest for this show is also a guy named Dave. We had David Glazer on the last show. And for this show, our special guest, all the way from Canada, he loves it, I always say that. Yeah, got a Canadian in the band, you gotta make mention of that, is Dave Quanbury. And he'll be, just as Dave Glazer was, playing guitar and singing the music of Rubber Soul, which is a much earlier album in the Beatles catalog. And I'm going to kind of pose the same question to Dave that I posed the last show, which is basically I'll say what I like about the Beatles, one thing, and then you could, expound on that a little bit, or just be something totally different. But we're working on this piece called Girl right now, and a lot of these songs from this album are just somewhat just like simple lyrics and silly songs about wooing a girl, but the musical content is already starting to shift into being more than just a 3-chord song. We actually have a couple of 3-chord songs. Like it starts off with the Drive Your Car, which is a really awesome rock and roll anthem, a metaphor for something. Drive my car.
No.
What could that be?
No.
Maybe you want to drive a car. But then we have this piece, Girl, which I really like, that they are borrowing a lot from the classical tradition, just musically. And what I thought would be fun to do is to slow it down at the top, so we have this very rubato, almost what should I call it, like a European folky Bulgarian sound that's happening. So we're drawing from the European classical tradition. And at the end of the piece, after he's talking about a girl, I decided that we would just graft in, like a piece of clothing, another piece of music from the classical tradition. So I took a piece by Chopin and made it sort of the coda. And a coda is like the ending part of a piece of music. So we're working on that, and it seems to fit very well, I think. But it's one of the things I like about the Beatles is that you have a very rich harmonic, melodic sense. The melodies can exist by themselves. You take the guitar away, and then yet when you add the guitar or the harmonic instrument, you have key changes. Things don't stay in the same keys. You're thrown all over the place. There's this landscape of contour with the melody and the harmony. And so it's even without the lyrics, it's just this really beautiful, rich, sensual experience. Just listening to it. So the lyrics could be just nonsense. Like there are a lot of this song. A lot of these songs are just nonsense, but so they're just basically holding a place for the melody. But it's still a great album. I really enjoy it. And that's one of the things I like about the Beatles is that rich harmonic landscape.
Rich harmonic landscape.
Anyway, but and we're doing this a little differently. This album is not, some of the songs are like the original.
Yeah.
But some of them are departures.
Some of them are.
Yeah. So is there anything that you like about the Beatles, or are they just so overdone and worn out that all these bands what keeps it going?
I don't know what I could add to what you just said, because you just said a lot about it. But the songs are kind of deceptively simple. I mean, when you get down to learn them, there's a couple tricks in there that I think it's a real talent when you can write music that sounds simple, and I guess by that I mean it goes where your ear might want it to go. But then when you sit down to learn how to play it, it doesn't necessarily go where you thought it was going.
Yeah.
Or you think, hey, that's a whole bunch more complicated than I thought it was, and it didn't sound that way. And someone else might go and write a song, you think, oh, that's so complicated. Why don't you just simplify it? And I don't think these guys are ever guilty of that.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about the Beatles. I'll tell you what else I like about the Beatles. I mean, it's not really about their music. In the late 60s or the 70s or something, they came out with this book called The Beatles Illustrated Lyrics. And my parents had this book, and I found it when I was a kid. And so that you'd have like a Beatles song, and because it was like you know, still kind of in the hippie days. The illustrations are just like these crazy psychedelic, like, you know, I remember like one was like this profile of a woman's boob, but it was like, it was all done in body paint, so it looked like a giraffe, you know, and like, I was just this little kid looking through this book, and then there was this one page for the lyrics of When I'm 64, and someone had drawn all the Beatles at the age of 64, like sort of into the future, you know, and so I found the book, you know, a little while ago when I was visiting my parents, and I went to look at that page to see if they really do look like that. I mean, the ones that are still alive.
To compare.
Yeah, and they don't. These future 64-year-old Beatles, they kind of look like musketeers. You know, because the facial hair was still on there, and of course, you know, nobody has facial hair. I mean, Paul McCartney doesn't. He certainly doesn't have like a D'Artagnan, you know, musketeer beard.
What a great idea. Maybe you should borrow that for your lyrics.
Yeah.
Get your fans, have a competition, get your fans to, you know, illustrate my lyrics. And send it in. Do all the work for you through their eyes. Wow. So that's cool. Interesting. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with the Beatles.
Not at all.
Yeah. But was that one of your first like exposures to them? Besides hearing the album?
For sure.
Was there any particular album that was like going at the household that you remember?
Yeah, Sgt. Pepper's was the album that my parents had that I sort of grew up with.
Were they big fans?
No, I wouldn't say so. No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
But
I remember asking my dad if he was a big fan, and he was like, "Well, by the time they came out, I was kind of too old to be a fan." I don't know what he really meant. Like maybe he thought I meant, "Do you go to their shows and scream?" Or something.
Yeah, right. And any definition of the word fan.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do you like them, Dad?
Yeah.
Do you like the Beatles?
Are you attracted to their sounds?
My dad was a Gordon Lightfoot fan too, so I'm not sure, you know.
or Neil Diamond?
No, but
No.
Gordon Gordon Lightfoot and Acker Bilk.
What about Leonard Cohen?
No.
None of the Canadians? Johnny Mitchell?
Hey, Leonard. Gordon Lightfoot's Canadian.
Oh, okay. So that qualifies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, so folks, there's a little sample of the charisma of one of our guests, and tomorrow we'll have another video with somebody who's going to be on the show as well, singing with Dave. Who could that be? Maybe you can guess that and comment below. And what would you like? Is there a question that you would like to ask us when we videotape tomorrow? Just send that to me. But most importantly, we'd love to see your faces out this Friday, Nutty Brown Cafe. Tickets at stringsattached.org. And bring the family. You can eat dinner beforehand. And the one thing that we'd like to encourage is more dancers to come out. There's this huge dance floor, and we're doing these classic rock shows, and everybody's just sitting on their butts, having dinner, shaking back and forth. And I keep getting the comments, boy, it was really hard sitting in that chair, but nobody was getting up to dance. You know,
I'm not going to be.
So we need one person to start the trend. Okay. And anyway, we'll see you there. Stringsattached.org. Dave Quanbury and some other person will be singing as well with a full band. The full regular suspects. See you there, okay? Thanks for listening. Okay, you just... Oh yeah, go to the guitar. That's not a Beatles song.